I'm Jamie.
I'm Chelsea.
And we are
the Pal Tribe. Welcome to our tribe. That's new.
She
from
made,
Hobby Lobby.
She made that as a really big deal. So
today we are going to talk about sperm.
Yeah, we're gonna
donors and banks.
Not the kind of money bank, but like
The
sperm
banks.
Yep. Stop the ice. I'm sorry, no. So yeah, we've done a little bit of research on a couple sperm banks. We originally heard about the California Cryobank on one of the vlogs that we've mentioned before.
And the first fertility specialist recommended that one.
And yeah, we had already like looked into them when we went to our appointment. And we thought it was an okay site. We didn't really fall in love with it by any means.
And we didn't really find a donor on there that we were like, oh, like this sounds really good, or I thought the site was good. You can like sign up for a free trial and see like their baby pictures, a few of them on that one. And then they had like a medical history, which is important and pretty standard, I'm sure. And then like the impression from the staff, which I thought was cool. Kind of getting to know. And they had like some pictures you could click on that like were of celebrity lookalikes, but I don't really know, like they don't, obviously it's probably not exact, but just an idea of like some features or whatnot. So that was kind of cool. And we, at our last appointment, were recommended Seattle Sperm Bank, and I guess it's a little bit cheaper. And they said one of the things that was cool about that place, and I'm not sure if California doesn't do this, but that they'll store it for you there until you need it. So if we do reciprocal IVF with one of the vials, with me, we could, you know, have on hand more sperm of the same donor so that she could in the future
use her egg. So yeah, we kind of looked in both. What are some of the things like, so?
Well, with Seattle Sperm Bank, you really can't see any of the pictures or anything unless you
sign up
for a membership. So that's something to keep in mind. But I think we found that it was worth it.
I think so too. One thing that was cool about Seattle Sperm Bank that I was like hesitant at first is there's a video, or excuse me, there's a audio interview with the donor, and I was like, do I want to hear them? Like, I don't know, there's just like something about that can be, weird. Like you can learn a lot about a person the way they speak.
I think for me personally is I didn't want that.
You didn't want to know you didn't want to know them.
Yeah, I didn't want like any type of like real connection. Like I wanted to just experience it as, you know, a donor who's just donating and
just like a
that's
person.
Generous, of course, but I didn't want to like have like a real connection or anything like that. So
going back a little bit, when we were talking about a sperm donor, we've had a lot of conversations about it up until this point before we even began searching. We knew that we'd want to have the same donor for both, like we'd want them to, exactly. And then we were, you know, talking about like our standards, like what mattered. And so I don't know if you want to talk about what mattered to you.
For me, like, well, for Jamie it was like education, and although like that is important in most people's lives, I didn't see that really playing a part in like the donor. So that personally for me wasn't like something I looked to. I looked more for like health. And then I thought really like what was cool about both sperm banks is they kind of like personality traits, and I think that a lot of times personality traits are hereditary. And so kind of just seeing, and with the fact that we're using Jamie's egg the first pregnancy, I kind of wanted to see if there were kind of personalities that were a like mix between both of us.
Yeah, or like more like you, right?
More like me in some senses, but also keeping in mind that in the future the next baby or pregnancy is going to be mine biologically, so obviously having that mix of like maybe some of your characteristics or personality in it. And then so personality definitely played a part, kind of seeing what, you know, could I imagine or whatever. And then health is obviously a huge thing. I think the fact that like we definitely looked into a lot of donors who were athletic and stayed fit.
So for me, there were things that I was kind of indifferent about in regards to, I don't know, the process with a donor, and then things as I started researching, I started realizing mattered a little bit more to me. And you know, one of the things that when we were originally talking, you know, Chelsea wanted to
so a little backstory about me is I grew up in a mixed family. I was raised by a black man and my mom was white. He's obviously my step parent, but he raised me from the time I was 1-2 years old. And then I have 4 younger siblings on that side of my family. They're all mixed, and my whole life I knew I wanted to be a mom. And when I pictured children, I did, because that was the environment I grew up in, I did picture myself having mixed racial like children. And so we talked a lot about that, because I wanted African-American donor, like full African-American donor. It was something we probably talked about
pretty
4
significant
months, like
amount.
You know, like just getting to, you know, why that mattered so much to me. And
and so we had a conversation about this, and you know, I think, and going over it, you know, we actually did decide we wanted to do a mixed donor. He just wants to be a part of
the show.
He wants to be part of everything. He just can't.
But moving forward, so that was a big factor when it came to just discussing the donor, and what really mattered to me is, you know, having that ethnicity.
Yep. And our that was like one thing we had kind of landed on and decided on, and that was going to be like for sure we're looking for. That's one of the criteria that's like a non-negotiable. And then I was like, what else? I don't know what else is going to matter to me. And when we started, she just like sent me some random, you know, pictures, screenshots of people, and I was like, whoa, wait, donors. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, I started realizing.
Like their profiles.
Like their profiles, yeah, of like just their basic information. And I was like, well, I'd like to have someone with education. And I don't even know why, like it just suddenly hit me. I was like, I want someone with education. And to me, it says a lot about their character. And I just don't know. I don't know them, so I just know that going to school, you know, I've gotten my degree. I know it takes discipline. I know that it takes, you know, you have to have drive. You have to stick to something. And it's okay if you don't have education. I'm not by any means saying that it's not. But for me, it was like, okay, not knowing them, knowing that they're committed to something in their lives and they're doing things. I think that's important to me. Because I don't know if that's a trait that's carried down or if it's environmental, but whatever. Education, intelligence, that. So those were some things that we were thinking about. So yeah, those were like, I don't know. Obviously medical history is important, but I feel like they kind of narrow it down a little bit with the sperm bank. They don't allow a lot of people with, you know, severe medical issues that I can see.
But just like looking, like if they had anybody in their family with like, you know, diabetes, or like, because I think we both have people in our family, like both of our fathers have diabetes. So that was something that we looked at and we're like, well, you know, do we want to take that risk? And just kind of looking into it. I mean, you can't control all the factors, obviously, and it's okay. What happens is supposed to happen, but I'm just kind of, when we're given that option, kind of looking into like what, you know, what matters for us. And
yeah, definitely. So we did some research on the Seattle sperm bank the other night, narrowed it down, and we listened to the first like one guy, and on the audio interview, and I liked him. I thought he was all right. I think he seemed nice. Then we heard another guy, and we kind of both liked him a little bit, but then he was kind of like cocky, or I don't know, something about him was like disconnected, and she felt like weird about the end of the interview. She was like, I don't really know if I want to.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just something off about the energy. I was very.
She was like
anti-open donor. And it's probably pretty selfish of me to say a lot of these things that I'm gonna say, but you know, number one was that this is gonna be my kid and this is gonna be my family, and I don't want to have that open, you know, in 18 years possibly have them, you know, like abandon me. Like, that sounds really sad that, you know, I'm fear of my child, like, abandoning me. But, you know, like, going to find, like, their biological parent or whatever, you know. So I was very, like, I don't want to feel threatened like that. Like, you know, what if their donor has, like, a really nice family in the future and, like, really nice kids, and, you know, my kid just wants to be part of that family, not part of my family anymore. Like, I don't know, just all the thoughts,
all these thoughts,
all the insecurities that, like, probably come along with that. And so I was very set on it.
You were.
And then,
well, I was, so from a perspective of me, I was indifferent about it. I hadn't really thought about it too much. But when she was totally against it, I got to thinking, like, I kind of felt sad for the future child a little bit, to be honest, because I felt like if we chose someone who was, like, fully anonymous, I have nothing I can tell them.
Yeah.
I mean, my hands are tied. So if they're like, you know, I want to know who my father is, because she kept saying, like, it's a sperm donor, and it is. But at the end of the day, that they have ties to her child. They have ties to her child. Yeah. So, not that I'm looking for someone to play that role, but at the end of the day, that's reality. They are a half of the child. Yeah. So I'd want to give them, personally, I kind of feel like they're right after 18 to find them. I mean, I don't know that I would, like, keep, you know, in contact. Like, I wouldn't, like, go out of my way to, like, make sure I know where they are and have, like, a, you know, planned date for them to meet. Or I'm not like that point. But I would, I don't know, I would like them be like, okay, this is the sperm bank, and, you know, see what you can find. I don't know, for me that made sense.
I'd say over, like, the course of deciding the donor and, like, really what matters to us when it comes to, like, having a baby. And really, it's not about us at the end of the day, it is about the child. And,
for sure.
You know, when you have a kid, you want the best for the kid, and you want to allow the best opportunities. And we don't know, I mean, maybe in 18 years they don't care. Or they do care, and it's fine, and we will support it no matter what. Yep.
And maybe we'll cross the bridge when we get there, but maybe they'll have a relationship with them, and maybe they'll just discover it, have a phone call, get some closure, get some understanding, and feel loved by that piece. Or maybe it'll hurt like hell, and it'll be a learning, you know, I don't know. But so
in the interviews, at the end of the interviews, they ask, you know, how do you feel about being an open donor?
Well, okay, go ahead.
And the first two interviews, the responses were not comfortable for me. Not that they were bad responses, because they were good answers, you know. They were very, you know, open-minded people. They were very, you know, they seemed kind, but there was just something that, like, in my gut when they talked about it, I was like, would I want my kid to have a relationship with this person? Yeah. That ultimately was what it was. When it came to, if you're going to pick an open donor, like, there's that possibility. You have to live in the realm of possibility that could happen. Yep. And so I was just like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Then we got to the third donor. Yep. And there is a lot of factors about this donor.
That was really good.
Really good.
So he's mixed, which was, I mean, that was a qualification. He's got a master's degree. He's an English teacher. And I think that's cool. He's very artistic. And he just seems real, I don't know, in his interview, he just seems really down to earth and just cool. Like, I would be, like, if I was, like, hanging out at a class or something, I would, like, talk to him and be his friend, you know? And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he had just a personality that was very heartfelt.
Humble and, like, authentic, which is like how we try to live our lives. And he seemed very comfortable in himself, not like super confident, but not like insecure.
And the second guy, like, he was just very, like, just, I don't know, he just seemed very, like, disconnected and cold, and, like, that was just, like, predictable. And like this third guy, he had a story.
Yeah, he did.
He has a story that we can connect to. And
for us, like, it was almost like imagining that, like, if we do have a son or sons, like, would we want them to turn out like these men? And so that's kind of like where we, like, came to conclusion with this donor. Is you know, that he is artistic, which for me is really cool. Like, I am a writer myself, and then he's smart and has an education like what Jamie wants.
Totally.
He's a dancer, which is really cool.
I can't dance, so that's really neat.
But, like, you know, in his interview he said, like, he always has to be dancing. Yeah,
he's always moving. She's always moving too. I don't know, he seems great. And there was just like at the end of the conversation, like listening to it, we didn't like listening to him talk. She just suddenly was like, you know what? I would not mind my future child talking to him and knowing him. And I was like, I agree. Yeah. And we both like just had this, it was like a connection. Oh, and he wrote a letter. So everybody else at the end, like, it's like, what would you like to tell the person that you're doing this for? And like everybody else at the end, it was like this one word, like one sentence, like, okay, well, good luck, hope you enjoy my sperm. I don't know, they didn't care. No, this last guy was like, hey, I'm putting myself in your shoes, like I'm really trying to think. And he even told us like what he's doing. He was like in a play. He's like, I'm actually sitting here like about to be in this play. And he's like, you probably don't really want to know this. And I do that all the time too. So I was like, I understand, you're just trying to share. But he was just so heartfelt. Like I almost got teared up at his letter. Like I literally felt like he was speaking like genuinely and wanted the best for us.
Yeah. So like he seemed very like respectful of like the boundaries or future boundaries, but he also like seemed like he wouldn't mind if, you know, if like certain boundaries needed to be crossed. Like if the child did want more of a relationship, I felt like he would be available. Yeah, in a weird way. And it was like really cool to like hear that. And you know, there was just a lot of things about the dog is so ridiculous. A lot of things about this donor that we both connected to, which when we were looking at previous donors, it'd be like I had more of a connection to one that I really liked, or she had more of a connection to one she really liked and I wasn't feeling it. And so there was just, there were a lot of really great factors about this one.
The fact, so he looks like your brother.
So this is actually an interesting thing, but you know, when reading about his personality and everything, it, you know, kind of resembled my youngest brother. And I don't have a relationship with my family right now. Like they don't agree with my lifestyle, but they don't accept my marriage or my relationship. And so I haven't seen them in quite a few years. And it was kind of interesting because when we were reading about the
life of pet
cats,
my God.
When we were reading about his personality, there was something about it that was just like kind of similar to me, but my youngest brother is a lot like me in personality. So that's why I think like that I picked up on that. But then seeing his childhood pictures, it was kind of creepy in a way.
So similar.
And I'm pretty sure there's no relationship because they don't look.
No
relation, I mean. But they don't look like alike, but they have similar characteristics. Like there was a way that
they carried themselves.
Yeah, they carried themselves as kids.
And I just know her brother from pictures, but
just like a few facial features that are similar. And to me, that was like kind of really cool because the whole point of finding a donor like this was to bring, you know, a piece of my family, you know, a piece of my like background into my family. And it was like I found that with this donor, like, you know, with the, you know, similarities between one of my siblings and the donor. And it's kind of cool. Like that's, you know.
So yeah, I think we haven't
bought the sperm yet.
We haven't bought the sperm.
We're gonna wait.
We want to
talk to the doctor.
Yeah, and like we were told at the other place that to do this we need IUI, but I've read some other things. I just want to make sure we handle it. His sperm is like $6.50 a vial.
Yeah.
So we don't really know how many we need to purchase either.
We have 2 in our cart right now, but we
have 2 in the cart. I don't know what we're doing with the cart yet, and we might do more for backup or something. I'm not sure.
Depending on what the new doctor says.
Yeah, we're not buying it yet, but as of right now, I would say that we did find a sperm donor that we like, and that we're choosing.
Yes.
And I think I'm really excited. It's very cool. I just feel good about it. I feel good about him. I feel good. The whole process is interesting to pick a random person, but for some reason I feel like he's not random. I don't know why.
You know, I think one of the donors in his interview we heard was like, he looks at this as being just a donor that you don't have to die before donating an organ. And I was like, that's actually a really cool way of thinking about it.
Was that this guy? I don't think so.
No, it wasn't this guy.
It was the first guy.
It was the first one. And then I think another thing that's kind of helped me with that is we are keeping up with a vlog with gay dads McHusband's actually, we're obsessed. McBaby Monday. And it's kind of really cool because they had an egg donor, you know, and they have a surrogate, and then they have their sperm, whatever. You go watch their vlogs, catch up, so awesome. Binge watch them, they're great. But considering that's, you know, it's just cool. It's just cool that, you know, we have a community of people in our world that like assist all of us in like having our families, you know, and then just all the ways, and it really is cool. This is how humanity, like what we kind of have come to, and like how we can kind of all be connected in a special way, and just that, you know, really like this donor is going to give us the family that we're dreaming of, and, you know, help us create more love than we ever thought we could create. So.
And he has no idea. I mean, he does because he donated the sperm, but he probably really doesn't know the difference he's gonna make. You know, and that's the cool thing, is that's a legacy right there. You know, and that's really neat. So I'm excited. So we have a donor. Yes. And tomorrow we're going to the seminar. Yeah. Things are happening, and then we're gonna just probably be in waiting zone. Hopefully not for too long. Hopefully we can start the first week of October. Yeah, that's our plan.
So our intention is, yes, the beginning of October, all the fun stuff begins. We do know there's going to be some waiting here and there, though, obviously, but yeah, it's really exciting that we found a donor that we both like, that we agree on, and
it's awesome. I'm really excited.
Just each step matters. And I mean, honestly, I don't know, I was gonna say something about like, go find your sperm donor now, because, you know, don't wait for the doctor to tell you, really start shopping around beforehand.
Yeah,
you know, because you have, I mean, it's a kind of a big decision, and if you're on crunch time to, like, I mean, depending on when you want to start, you know, take the time to really find out what matters to you. And
as you're going through it, you'll start realizing without even trying. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want somebody that short, or oh my god, that's crazy, or, you know, whatever it is, it's, you just realize like the qualities in a human that matter to you when you're like assessing someone. Like, oh wow, what?
So how did you pick your sperm donor, if you've done that, or, you know, what things matter to you? Leave them in the comments.
Yes.
Subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up, and go like us on Instagram. Follow us, I mean. Yeah.
Like us, follow us.
Yes.
And enjoy.
Twitter and whatnot.
Because Toby's very excited.
Yes.
He's
our puppy.
I am
it's a big day.
This dog, he's so crazy.
Okay.
Bye. See
ya
soon.